In the heart of an affluent African city lived two friends, Alex Michael and Clinton Patlomi. Both were sons of wealth, raised under the shadows of towering legacies. Alex was the only child of Chief Michael Nduka, a man whose name opened doors the way kings opened palaces, with grandeur and certainty. In the business world, Chief Michael was described as the man whose footsteps make contracts tremble, a mind too strategic to fail, a leader who prays before he plans and who wins because he listens. His victories were legendary. Every contract he signed, he won. Every business he touched, he prospered. He never lost. But Chief Michael would tell everyone that his strength was not in his wealth, but in the woman who walked beside him, his wife, Mrs. Elizabeth Michael. She was the epitome of grace, beautiful yet modest, stunning yet humble, intelligent with a brilliance that glowed softly, elegant in presence, charismatic without effort. He never made a decision, whether corporate or personal, without seeking her wisdom and prayers. Their marriage was an alliance of intellect, prayer, and destiny. Alex grew under this influence, inheriting not only his father's intelligence, but also his mother's quiet emotional strength. Gifted children do not need to announce their presence announces them. Clinton, on the other hand, was the son of Chief Patlomi, wealthy, yes, but never as wealthy as Chief Michael. The two fathers had been friends for years, business competitors who smiled together in public, yet harbored silent competitions in private. Then came the moment that shifted everything. Alex's 30th birthday. A milestone his parents planned to honor with grandeur, a gesture of appreciation and subtle matchmaking. They hoped he might meet a woman worthy of his journey, not a gold digger, but a builder. Invitations swept across the country. Business moguls, wealthy families, political associates, old friends, sons and daughters of elite households. One of the invited guests was Mrs. Elizabeth's old school friend, Mrs. Juliet Obiora, a woman whose beauty had aged like fine wine, still graceful, radiant, but carrying a heart that had never fully healed. Though Mrs. Juliet married a comfortably wealthy man, Chief Dike Obiora bore a beautiful, charming, elegant daughter, Jenny Obiora, a woman capable of turning heads effortlessly. When she received the invitation to Alex's birthday celebration, she offered to help Mrs. Elizabeth plan the event. Mrs. Elizabeth trusted Juliet, unaware of the venom wrapped in her friend's intentions. The long-awaited evening finally dawned, a night wrapped in elegancy and whispered expectations. Chief Michael's residence transformed into a palace of splendor, glowing beneath the soft halo of golden lights. A night carved out of royalty. Elegance lived and breathed in that room. Women dazzled like diamonds. Men stood like kings. Children of wealth moved with polished grace. Business moguls, political giants, old family allies, every pillar of influence filled the hall. The atmosphere was irresistible, a gathering where status made spectacle. Everything shimmered with perfection until perfection shattered. Just as Alex leaned towards the cake to make his wish, the air broke with a jarring tug. Heavy boots, urgent footsteps, voice sharpened by authority. Police officers stormed the building like a dark cloud rolling across a bright sky. Chaos entered like a thief at midnight. The music stopped abruptly. Guests froze. Gaps slid through the quiet like knives. The police chief stepped forward. Chief Michael, he said firmly, we have a warrant to search these premises for drug trafficking. Gaps scattered across the hall like broken glass. Guests clenched their pearls, exchanged shocked glances, whispered behind trembling hands. Chief Michael, though visibly startled, held himself with dignity. A righteous man fears nothing, he said calmly. You have my permission. But destiny had a cruel twist prepared. Minutes later, officers emerged from Alex's room holding packets sealed in evidence bag, cocaine in their hands, substances no one in that house had ever seen. The room erupted. Some murmured cruelly. I knew something was suspicious. Pain Pain laced the air. Jenny froze where she stood, her heart pounding. Clinton froze. Mrs. Juliet held her daughter's hand tightly, unable to comprehend how the night had descended into chaos so quickly. As the officers reached for Alice, Mrs. Elizabeth pushed through the crowd, trembling. "Stop! My son is innocent. He would never." Her breath hedged. Her hands trembled. Then suddenly a violent cough escaped her, followed by a fronting vomit as she staggered back. "Elizabeth!" Chief Michael cried, rushing to her. But before he reached her, she collapsed. A mother fell and hope fell with her. Screams tore through the hall. Chief Michael fell to his knees beside her, shaking, begging, sobbing. "Elizabeth, please wake up. My love, wake up. Elizabeth!" The cry of a man watching his world crumble. A king brought to his knees, a fortress breaking in the storm. A sharp, stabbing pain tore through his heart. Chief Bartholomew and Clinton ran to him, holding him upright as he shook uncontrollably. Mrs. Juliet knelt beside Elizabeth, crying, "Elizabeth, please wake up. Elizabeth, please open your eyes." Girls clung to each other in terror. Alice screamed, "Mother!" as he struggled against the officers. And then he jolted awake, drenched in sweat, gasping as though he had surfaced from drowning. It was a nightmare, a vision wrapped in terror, a warning echoing from the unseen. His door burst open and his parents rushed in. "Alice!" Mrs. Elizabeth cried, pressing a hand to her heart. "My son, what happened? Why are you trembling like this?" Chief Michael moved quickly to his side, gripping his shoulder with steady strength. "Talk to us. You are shaking. What did you see?" "Oh God, thank you," Alice whispered. "It wasn't real, but it felt real. Too real." Alice trembled as he recounted the nightmare in vivid detail. The police storming the hall, the drugs found in his room, the cruel accusations, his mother collapsing, his father breaking. Mrs. Elizabeth covered her mouth, tears forming in her eyes. "My God, that was not just a dream. That was a revelation." Her voice trembled. "God is showing us something. Someone wants to destroy this family. But who?" Chief Michael paced slowly. "Then we must find out," he said quietly. "But how?" Alice said. The three of them sat together, planning like a single fortress, united not by wealth, but by love and divine warning. Chief Michael paused and nodded. "It is time we defend our home with wisdom, not fear. A father ready to defend his legacy. A family standing on the edge of unfolding destiny." As preparations soared, Alice and Clinton went shopping as usual, unaware of the storm brewing in his heart and soul. The long-awaited evening arrived with the kind of splendor that seemed almost unreal. A night sculpted out of stardust and prestige. Guests arrived in waves. Business magnates, influential policymakers, wealthy families with generations of legacy, celebrity heiresses, foreign partners, and associates of every pedigree. It was a gathering where power shook hands with prestige. Among the elegantly dressed guests stood figures who did not come to celebrate. Inspectors and policemen in suits, not uniforms. Wolves dressed in velvet. Silent watchers bennett the sparkle. Jenny arrived with her parents, looking breathtaking, and Clinton came with his family as well. Voices rose in cheerful conversation, laughter, greetings, business discussions, and compliments. Mrs. Juliet, glowing with elegance, over Sabi auntie you know now, slipped a glass of wine onto a tray into Jenny's hand. "Jenny, take this to Mrs. Elizabeth." Under her breath, she murmured. "Tonight, the past collects its debts." Jenny lifted the tray, unaware of the darkness she carried, and walked towards Mrs. Elizabeth, but fate sharpened its gaze, preparing to reveal that darkness can stumble even at the brink of victory. Just 2 steps away from delivering disaster, a tall man dressed in a black suit and dark shades stepped strategically into her path and gently bumped her shoulder. The tray jolted, the glass slipped, and shattered. A hush swept across the hall. Jenny stood frozen. Mrs. Juliet's eyes widened in shock. Rage blooming like fire beneath her skin. So close, yet fate denied me, she said. But plans built on hatred crumble before innocence. After a heartfelt prayer of blessings led by Mrs. Elizabeth, then the MC announced softly, "It is time for the celebrant to make his wish." Alex inhaled softly, preparing to make his wish, but before his lips could part, the air broke with a jarring tug. A command burst into the hall. "Police! Everyone, stand back!" The music died. Guests froze. A wave of uniformed officers swept into the hall with swift precision. Clinton stiffened. Chief Bartholomew's eyes widened with sudden panic. The lead officer lifted a document. "We have an arrest warrant for Chief Bartholomew Nwabeze," he declared loudly, "for money laundering, fraudulent misappropriation of funds, and international trafficking operations under federal investigation." The room exploded. Reputations trembled on the edge of rain. Shrieks, gasps, hands over mouths. A wave of murmuring voices rising like a storm. "What? Bartholomew, this is impossible. I knew something was wrong. Trafficking in this high society circle, God forbid." Whispers turned into daggers. "I knew words like this had a shadow." Clinton staggered back, shocked. "Dad?" His voice cracked, barely audible. Chief Bartholomew tried to step forward, his voice shaking with outrage. "This is a mistake, a terrible mistake. I am a respected man. Someone is framing me." But two officers seized him firmly by the arms. No, let me explain," Chief Bartholomew shouted, struggling. In handcuffs, Clinton rushed toward them, distraught. "You can't do this. Let him go. He is innocent." Mrs. Juliet gripped her daughter tightly, whispering prayers under her breath. Guests backed away, some recording the scene, others whispering in fear. Mrs. Elizabeth covered her mouth in alarm. Chief Michael watched in suspended shock. His instincts told him this was no coincidence. The atmosphere throbbed with disbelief. Not all enemies reveal themselves through dreams. Some walk into the light wearing familiar faces. The man in black suit stepped forward. The one who bumped into Jenny earlier, the same one who had shadowed the hall with silent precision. He raised a hand, commanding attention. The murmurs faded, cameras lowered. "My name is Inspector Samuel Adeyemi." A CCTV footage was a window into a hidden reality. The hall gasped as the first footage played. Chief Bartholomew, in a quiet corner of the garden, slipping a small pack into Clinton's palm. Whispers swept through the hall. The next clip appeared. Clinton creeping upstairs through a back corridor, unlocking Alex's room with a duplicate key, entered swiftly and slid the pack under Alex's wardrobe drawer. The hall gasped again. Some guests pressed their hands against their mouths. Others whispered, "Wicked friend, envy wears the mask of royalty. This world is deep." Alex stood trembling, tears gathering. He turned to Clinton. "Why, Clinton? What did I ever do to deserve this?" Clinton, who had been standing frozen in shock, dropped to his knees, shaking violently. No, I didn't mean. Father told me to. I didn't think." Inspector Samuel lifted a hand. Officers, two men in tailored suits, stepped forward. They seized Clinton by the arms. "You are under arrest for conspiracy, evidence tampering, and obstruction of justice." Clinton broke into sobs as he was dragged out. When envy is planted in silence, betrayal grows in darkness. But Inspector Samuel was not finished. The screen shifted again. This time, Mrs. Juliet appeared on the footage, slipping a clear substance into a glass of wine before handing the tray to her unsuspecting doctor. A collective gasp sliced through the hall like a blade. Jenny's hand flew to her mouth. "Mother!" Mrs. Juliet stood rigid. Inspector Samuel continued, "I bumped into Jenny purposely to stop that wine from reaching Mrs. Elizabeth. It contained a compound meant to induce mental disorientation." Jenny burst into tears. Mrs. Juliet laughed. "A hollow, wicked, bitter bitter laugh that chilled every soul in the hall. "I regret nothing," she screamed, pointing at Mrs. Elizabeth. "For years, you walked proudly with the man who was meant to be mine. Michael chose you instead of me. You took what belongs to me. Tonight was my chance to repay the pain." Chaos erupted. Guests murmured. For decades, she hid this bitterness. Wonders shall never end. Mrs. Juliet stayed in disbelief, deeply wounded by betrayal. Chief Michael stepped forward. He lifted a hand and the hall fell silent. "I am not surprised. Many times, your enemies are the ones you wine and dine with. But justice must speak louder than sympathy." He turned to the officers. "Take them away. Let the law run its course." Officers handcuffed Mrs. Juliet. "You will come with us too, Jenny," one said softly. "You unknowingly carried evidence. When hatred sits too long in the heart, it makes enemies of the innocent." Mrs. Juliet stood and said calmly, "Tonight has revealed one truth. Evil may hide behind friendship, but it cannot hide from God." Chief Michael raised his glass. Clang, 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 clang. "Let the celebration continue. What is built with integrity cannot be destroyed by conspiracy." Alex made his wish with a heart wiser, humbler, and stronger. Thanks for watching.